Hey everybody, my name's Tanvarian, and today I'm going to teach you the core mechanics of swarm kiting in Zenith. I'll show off all the swarm kite locations that I found so far, and in the description I'll have links to builds for each class that are capable of solo swarm kiting. First, let me show off what swarm kiting looks like. I'm gonna dodge that AoE. Throw the ult down. We need stamina. There was an event down below, so we pulled some kind of big bosses. These essence mages are kind of crazy. I just need to make sure not to take damage from them. As you can see, if done right, swarm kiting allows us to kill insane numbers of monsters in one sitting. This results in a massive amount of experience per pack slain, tons of items to break down for dust, and repeatable quest item drops that will amass us even more experience. The first step in swarm kiting is finding a good location. A good location is going to have a dense pack of mobs within a small area. This is important because if we pull a mob too far, they'll eventually give up the chase and walk back to their spawn locations. Luckily for you, I found ideal locations in certain level ranges for swarm kiting. I want to be clear that if it's your first playthrough, then focus on just the main story quest since it provides insane experience, as well as unlocks future fast travel points. You'll reach a point where you cannot pick up the next main story quest due to being underleveled, and these are the times to go to the appropriate swarm kite location, grind out your levels in a very quick manner until you're able to pick up the next main story. While I show you all the kiting locations, at the same time I'm going to be going over the core mechanics of swarm kiting, what abilities and damage types you should be focusing on, and how to dodge to stay alive, and to pull things properly in a tight pack. The first swarm kiting spot that I found starts at level 6, and you can go through this all the way up till level 10 if you'd like. It's in Galleon Valley, and has a really excellent area for a dense pack of mobs that we can swarm kite. The full pull is about 30-ish mobs, and they drop the exiled broken masks as the repeatable quest turn in that we will turn in over and over for a ton more experience. The footage shown is an example of a full pull, so you can see exactly which mobs I'm pulling and where I'm fighting things towards the end. Getting back to the repeatable quest turn-in items, these are key for swarm kiting to provide tons of experience. You can continuously stack these items up as many times as you want and go back in one sitting and turn them all in back to back. Each repeatable quest exists in every level zone and is usually held by the main quest giver for that area. They just added some new NPCs a few patches ago, so if you don't see it at the main quest giver, just take a look around. There's usually an NPC close by that will give this and will allow you to turn them in over and over. Let's start explaining the basics of a pull. The first step, just grabbing all the monsters. You want to make sure that you register some amount of damage on each monster that you're pulling. This is important because I found that monsters will leash much earlier if you don't have any damage done on them. And this means that you've aggroed them only by running past them, rather than hitting them with some sort of damage. Even with damage dealt, monsters will still leash at some point, meaning they'll turn around and walk back to their spawn location. And this, from what I found out, seems to be in regard to the distance traveled from their spawn location, if you just draw a straight line. So you can imagine a large circle area around the spawn of that monster, and once they get out of that circle, they leash and they start walking back. In time, you'll get comfortable with these distances, but just keep an eye out and keep in mind that these distances do exist, because that's what's going to change how many mobs we can pull in one area and how far we can go and grab everything before they start resetting. The next location shown is Sporewood. This is a good range for level 16 through 17. We only stay here for a short amount of time because there's a much better spot coming up next. It's a pack of dogs. There's about 11 that you can pull at one time. And if you have a bunch of friends and a large group that can handle themselves, you can pull the entire temple that I'm showing here in the background. There just happens to be a lot of elites and potential bosses as well. And all of these monsters, including the dogs, are going to drop Ent Leafs as the repeatable turn in. While we watch the pull in the background, let's talk about the next important thing, which is dealing enough damage to kill these things in a short amount of time. All classes and subclasses have lots of AoE potential in their Godstone selections. So go through your list, look for anything that deals the most amount of AoE damage, and we're going to be spamming these abilities and spending all of our mana or rage on them to quickly burn down an entire pack. I'm working on in-depth guides on each class and subclass to show you the exact Godstone selection and upgrades for those Godstones that really shine for doing things like this. So keep an eye out on the description. As I make them, I'll be adding them there, so you can just find your class, click that guide, watch it through, and you'll be set. The next location is in between Skysong's fast travel and the Obsidian Fortress. It's a cave with a level range between 17 and 19. And this cave has tons of dogs and sword guys that we can grab. It's about a 24 mob pack per pull, and they will be dropping the cultist totems as our repeatable for this location. While we watch this pull, let's talk about the biggest question that most of you are going to have is, how do we stay alive during this? The most important part of staying alive is just mitigating damage by dodging. Pay attention to enemies' animations, if they have a dash attack or a charge up attack, and get out of the way as they're charging that. They're usually easily dodgeable if you're paying attention close enough. Now, of course, since there's so many of them, you're bound to get hit a few times. So the next important thing is sustain. Sustain is having abilities that are going to funnel us health or shield in some way, and just continue to top off our health pool as we continue to kill the entire pack. As I said before, I'll have specifics on all the subclasses and guides on where we can pull this sustain from. But for now, dig through your abilities. We're looking for things that have AoE lifesteal. These are things like Scythe on the Blade Master DPS, or for the Essence Mage tank, it's all the chains that you can put on enemies. These are funneling life, and the more targets we can hit with it, the larger amount of health that we're going to get back from it. For those of you struggling to find sustain in your base Godstones, the major upgrade that gives you 100% AP damage back as life as long as you've slain an enemy with that ability will supplement this greatly. Put it on your main damaging ability that you're using to wipe the packs, and you'll be getting so much health back. It should be enough to keep you alive. If you start fighting these giant packs with a mana or rage bar that's not full, it's going to be very dangerous for you. We need those resources to cast those sustain abilities to keep us alive. If you find yourself out of mana or rage during the fight, and they're not all dead, take a step back, give yourself time to regen, dodge for a while, and then jump back in. The next location is amazing. boasting a 33 mob pack pull. This is northeast of Skysong Summit, and the level range you should be doing this at is between 19 and 23. The repeatable item dropped in this area is the Gargoyle's Claw. While we watch this pull, let's go over another key component in being able to stay alive and burn down an entire pack. This key component is packing all the mobs in a tight area. If they're spread out, things are going to be very difficult for you. You're not going to be landing all of your AoE on the entire pack, and it usually will result in a wipe. You'll die. So how do we pack everything up tightly? Well, at the end of your pull, you have everything grabbed that you're going to be killing. You need to do large circles around the pack. And the reason for this is, as the AI tries to run straight towards you, when you're doing circles, eventually they'll all kind of congregate in the center of the large circle that you're doing. So as you're running circles around your pack, just keep glancing over your shoulder, see how tightly packed they are, and continue to run as many circles as you need to until they're densely packed. You're going to see me doing this over and over at the end of each of these pulls right before I'm killing them. So take a look at that as an example, but also keep in mind that your pack should be as tight as your largest AoE. So in my case, I have a huge bar AoE. It's decently wide, but it shoots super far out lengthwise. So I'm making sure my pack fits that shape. For you, most of your abilities are going to be a large circle, so keep that mental image in your head. Once you find that the pack is fitting in that circle, that's when you're going to go in and start dishing out all your damage. Now, if you're not solo and you're doing this with friends, it's really important that one person does the pulling and your friends sit off to the side and wait until you're ready before they start damaging. If your friends damage early and pull aggro before you've packed everything up, now you have two different people that the enemies are following. And this makes it extremely difficult to pack everything tightly and will usually result in a wipe. So take the time to explain to your friends that they need to wait for your go-ahead. They need to wait until you are comfortable with the pack and how tight they are, and then let them know it's okay to jump in and start dealing damage. All these pulls I've been showing you have been solo, but please, if you see people running by and gawking at the fact that you're able to kill such large packs, bring them in. Explain what you're doing, let them know that they need to wait, and you can share in all of these rewards. You're not going to lose out on experience gained, you're not going to lose out on drops, you're just going to be sharing all of that with them, as long as they're tagging everything and doing the damage necessary when you give the okay. The next area is going to be northeast of Tangled Cove. It's a level 27 to 32 area, and it also has huge pulls. It's got about 30 monsters per pull that you can get, and the repeatable turn-in is the water droplets. While we watch this pull, and the last one after this, I'm going to go over everything that we've talked about and recap, as well as just give you my final thoughts on this entire method. I haven't found anything that gives as much experience as swarm kiting. The kills alone grant insane amounts of experience. The repeatable quest turn-in is even more so. On top of this, it takes a ton of effort and practice to do. I can't tell you how many times I died, hundreds and hundreds of times on each subclass while I tried to find the right set of Godstones to do this, and just to find the ways to dodge the different monster packs. It was grueling, it was gruesome. I could have given up several times and just chalked it up as impossible, but I was persistent, I pushed through. I encourage you to do this as well, and eventually it's going to click, and you're going to be able to consistently pull and kill giant packs over and over again, and you'll reap the benefits of your efforts. Once you start getting this down consistently, something I've noticed, which is so nice, is the reaction that you're going to get from others in the community. Seeing you do this and sharing in it, you're going to get well known, and I encourage you to teach those that are interested in learning it. Take all the knowledge you've learned from this and spread it. You can also link them to this video, and I live stream on Twitch very regularly at twitch.tv/Tanvarian. And I heavily appreciate any support you give over on my Twitch channel. Once I'm done killing the rest of this pack here, we'll move on to the last Swarm Kite location. This is just south of Emerald Desert, and it's about a 16 mob pack if we don't count pulling the elites. The elites are much more difficult to kill if you have them in your pack. I only recommend doing this if you want to push yourself, because the damage they deal is very large. Emerald Desert should be started at a level range between 35, and you can take it all the way to 40. They drop the fire seeds as your repeatable quests. And that's everything. You can watch this final pull. But overall, we went over how to pull individual mobs and dealing the damage. We talked about leashing. We talked about how to do enough damage to kill the entire packs. We went over how to stay alive during these insane pulls. We talked about the importance of packing things super tightly and the overall huge experience gain you can get from this. A lot of people call this power leveling, and it's what you're going to be doing if you put the effort in. I've thoroughly loved learning how to do this on each class and subclass. The only one I have not touched yet, which I will soon, is going to be the Blade Master support. But if 5 out of 6 can do it, odds are the Blade Master support should be able to do this as well. So keep an eye out for all the guides that I will be posting as I finish the videos down in the description for your individual class, so you can dig deeper on how to play that class properly, and more specifically, how to get the right setup to really shine in swarm kiting solo. It's been a blast making this video. I had basically no editing experience before I started this, but I noticed such a huge deficit in guides and knowledge for Zenith because it's so new, and VR communities are so much smaller in comparison to flat screen games, that I thought I might as well sit down and learn it, put it together, and here we are. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I hope that you've learned something new, and I'm really excited for you to try this out and feel insanely powerful when you pull off your first swarm kite kill. Once again, my name's Tanvarian. You can see me in game. I typically play on Crimson West. Crimson's been a little bit buggy lately though, so Crystal West has been my other backup go-to and might be the new home. So you can come say hi, find me out doing this, and ask me any questions you have in game. I love teaching and spreading knowledge. And that's everything. hit the like button if you've found it useful. It's super helpful for me, and having this video show up for other peoples that search for Zenith content. And more importantly, follow me on Twitch. That means the most to me. So if you found anything useful here and you want to give back in some way, come check me out there. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you later, Zenithian.